Alrighty, daily trading recap. Let's get after it today on this Monday, the 25th of April, 2022. Some events going on with the future strategy session-wide and 9:30 today as well, but then also coming in with a nice little CYN trade that was just a little small teaser, but excited about that one and what that potential sets up for more trades similar to that in the future. So I'm excited about that. Let's go into market internal dollar volume here quick first. So we have got NASDAQ at $268 billion volume as of 54 minutes after the close here, and I see $419 billion volume. OTC's $2.0 billion volume on the day. To Christ be the glory in everything. Session-wide strategy, I was not able to have computer problems, computer glitches to get in filled for the Sunday session open there. So I still had one lingering contract from yesterday's action of just that mistake that was carried over anyway, but sizing back into what I considered, like, sure enough, luckily we found a little bit of a pullback after that session start. So still playing the strategy, kind of using that as a gift a little bit to add a little bit more of a cushion from what was the original entry price, where I would normally consider the factor for which I would have been filled at that target to be looking for, then my specific price target above that point throughout the session. Sized in with 4 contracts there, and then was able to luckily scale out with, as price did come back, to we get to above that price target there from that Sunday session open. Was able to fill on all of those for that little win, reclaiming a little bit of the loss on one of those contracts that was still lingering from yesterday from that hard, crazy pull down there that day. Don't want to try to continue to do that with this strategy. That is not what this strategy is made for, but just take the little tiny extra scalps and little tiny wins as much as I can, especially after hard days like that yesterday. But keeping in the mentality, and today was a great reminder too of what previous experiences you had don't matter on the price action right now. Like, it doesn't matter that I've taken a loss 3 times, 4 times, 5 times on a ticker. I don't want to do that, and I haven't done that. But in that same example, the chart doesn't care. The market doesn't care. Nobody cares what has happened before, specifically to you. If you're reading something on the chart in the level 2, and that's a totally different subject, but it doesn't matter emotionally what you have felt previously to it. That doesn't mean that the chart is now done, or the chart is now dead, or it's not going to happen, or that is somehow, because it's just try and try it again, that it somehow will happen later at this point. It's all about price action right here and right now. That is the only thing that ever matters, and you can't let the downfalls that have happened to you, or the high falls that have happened to you, affect how you look at the present moment here and now on each and every single individual trade. They are their own standalone individual trade, as they are. This 9:30 strategy ended up somehow, some way, at some point with this strategy through NinjaTrader algorithm, I defined a stop in this trade, and we perfectly started pulling and hit the stop. I don't know why or when that I started back testing with a stop in on this 9:30 strategy, but then all of a sudden I hear I got my order filled, and I'm going, there's no way my margin's getting called on this one. So I'm checking, there's no way that they didn't even increase the margin through the NinjaTrader website there. Just like, okay, what was going on? And sure enough, I find that somehow there was a freaking stop on that automated strategy that I feel has been sitting there forever, and just somehow it's never run into it before. So finding another bug in the little system there and working that out today, and actually coming away with a nice little break even, just under break even, of getting back in right near where it was getting me out of, being able to adjust on the fly and understand, not get so emotional of seeing a huge red P&L number and just going, oh, woe is me, but picking myself back up and understanding what the situation is, fixing a mistake when it was there, when the easy route would just be to cry and complain and just throw myself, go away. But sure enough, it worked out beautifully, and I cut it a little bit short. We got the bounce all the way back up to what my profit target was for that 9:30 strategy, of over 2 points above that open little range there, but I cut it short a little bit, and I thought it was pulling back a little bit too much, so cut it for just under break even on that one. It's saving myself a lot more than just what was a little bit under break even, so don't really even consider that a loss of potential profits on that one. But yeah, working out more and more bugs on this little strategy, and thankful for it and excited to just continue to push that harder and harder over the next few days, months, years, if it wants to continue to work out. This morning, as I was waking up, this is just a little reference for me in my journal, of very anxious, and I want to say timid as well too, and even like kind of starting up the computer, and just the feelings and emotions I was having even before starting preparation today. And in my recognition of that, just had to totally take another little break away from the computer and just sat down on the floor and kind of had a little meditation, breathing work time. And I totally do feel that radically changed my perspective on the day and just how I carried myself and approached the trading, and just my reformations with myself if I am a great trader, and just outlining all these things that I know are true and rebuilding that self-confidence, the things that are there, but just for some reason that certain days, whether I did have lesser sleep last night for other reasons, but then carrying that in today of a little bit of sickness as well too, I can maybe factor that in as well. But taking that time to breathe, I certainly do feel helped me approach today from a far better perspective than I would have if I had not taken that little just tiny step and break away and approach it from a new perspective there. So that was the only introduction I wanted. I'll talk about CYN quick. This trade was just totally, it's not even finished for a trade, and it was kind of iffy because I wasn't in front of the computer screen for the real critical times on each critical part of the trade, in my opinion, on this ticker. Third day play, again, really based on this anchored VWAP toy and tool, I want to call it, that after watching that Gertani video and seeing he's using it just a little bit more, using we'll even call it the anchoring it from that first green day, which was the 21st there, as I set this up quick. As seeing him use that type of setup, just kind of intrigued me to say, yeah, I absolutely wanted to start playing with it more to see if there is any validation to it, and just even putting me in the better perspective to understand that charts aren't just about, okay, it is a third green day. That means, third green day surge. That's the pattern that matches those first two words they match. So that's the pattern that goes for today, and then just blanket buying or doing whatever without any real indication of, are shorts stuck in this? Is there interest in actually people buying it? All these different factors of looking at charts more from an emotional standpoint, not my own emotions, but understanding what emotions are at play in this and where are the sides, where is everybody sitting, versus how I normally tend to look at it as just like, it's a first day, there's lots of volume on it, let's get long. It's just how stupidly I just continue to do that over and over today. And even today, too, in my pre-market preparation of seeing a lot of nice first green day movers today, I just was kind of telling myself, I don't even really want to look at these today because I have not had success in trying to trade them as a different rate or as whatever pattern I was trying to put on them. It's just not been working. And one of my monthly goals is push harder on what's working and eliminate what's not. And just trying to continue to bash my head on these first green day plays, they just were not working. So I need to be looking at something different or just trying and testing new and different things. So that's really what this kind of trade was, where I normally wouldn't really kind of give this chart a second glance, especially if it's not having a lot of volume. I could see if I didn't have the anchored view up as well as, okay, it's holding a little bit well here on the second day, but it's already pulled back a little bit from where it was trading yesterday, blah, 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 all these different things. But even still, with this chart, like I didn't know it was going to go to $3 today. And I didn't know it was going to hold so well. And you go immediately from right after my initial entry on there to that point. That's all of trading, right? Nobody ever knows what's actually going to happen. But it's just about preparing yourself and being in the right situation at the right time and doing the prep work beforehand to make your own luck and look like you do know what you're doing. Getting my brain wrapped around that more and more is, I think, going to be a great step for me as well. That nobody knows, unless you're illegally manipulating the stock, you don't know if it's going to go up, down, backwards, in circles. Like, that's from Wolf of Wall Street, yeah. But it's so precisely true that nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but that's why you take the trade. That's why you establish risk, because you have to protect yourself of when it goes against you or what it could potentially do to the upside, because nobody knows what it's going to do. That's why you always establish risk and put risk first, because if you can manage that risk well, that's going to set you up for the big, awesome, beautiful trades similar to this one of maximizing all those profit opportunities and keeping your risk on the losers low. There's always going to be losers, and yeah, getting very rambly with that one, but back to this specific trade on CYN. Really, really lackluster volume today, just overall dollar volume. Regular hours dollar volume today on scans is showing 44 million compared to what it was doing yesterday is just abysmal, especially that first green day, just absolutely nothing. So it's not like, and even on that second day, last week, trading day Friday, it's not like shorts were just getting so panicky that shorts were stuck in this and they were just pushing this higher. It's just like there was slow buying, and then this $3 push obviously was the biggest key inflection point, and that was obviously more panic or more emotion involved for that specific price move in this little 5-minute candle push there. But other than that, it wasn't just like a panic-induced type of trade, which was totally based off of using this anchored VWAP setup here to understand, okay, as we closed on that first green day, we can guess that volume, or that the average, both long and short, is set around just above this $2 level, around that 206, kind of in this consolidatory range where it just closed before there on that first green day. So to say, okay, now to see on that second day, as it was starting to climb higher, I can understand how it could start to just kind of continue to peak over and over again and push a little bit higher, maybe on a little lackluster volume, because the average short is getting stopped out and just putting in a little bit more buying pressure there. But even for this same example today, it's not so much that it has to be shorts covering, but it just can be, okay, there's longs coming into this because it's holding these key levels. So, and to who knows that what is actually occurring of if it is shorts covering. That's just what we like to assume. That's where the huge panic chaos comes from, of panicking shorts trying to cover their position, and the same thing with a panic dip buy of longs trying to get out so quick of their position, and price just keeps skipping down to the lower levels. That's just what you like to see as a long for that type of price action to happen, but it doesn't always have to be that with price action that rides like this. So in just respecting that and understanding of, okay, I kind of guessed right. Like for using this same level of assuming that the average person still in this trade, not assuming or factoring in any of the lackluster volume from this previous daily chart, but just saying from this previous run, for the run we're in right now, the average trader is right here in this range. Okay, we're opening up here. We're kind of holding around that, reclaiming back to VWAP, had a little bit of fake out. Okay, we're pulling back down there, but now it's still holding. So sure enough, I was in front of the computer for this precise little bottom moment there, but as it's reclaiming the VWAP, I said, absolutely, I think I have to take a little stab at this one. I think it's holding decently enough. I don't predict that it's going to have a move to $3 today by any means or immediately after my entry, but I think it's holding enough decently, and I'm well enough to accept the risk of it coming back down, of taking the risk of 8 cents, 9 cents for it to break this little regional low, to give it just enough play to keep it still within a low of day. If it's definitely breaking a low of day, I don't think it has much strength for the type of swing trade that I would be looking for that specific entry. Maybe still it does work, but over the next day, over the next 2 days, that becomes a better entry point for a potential further upward move there. But yeah, surprised to see, wow, it went exactly to $3. And of course, again, I was not in front of the computer. I think it was working out for this time frame, and shoulda, coulda, woulda. I knew in the back of my mind after I was in that trade, and as it started working decently, I said, I just have to, at least, if managing this trade as if I did have an actual real position size on it, I got to throw at least a decent. I know if it was at $3, I would absolutely be taking off profits there, but I just didn't have the limit order in. And the factoring in of, okay, yeah, well, I want it to start working out, but I don't want to cut it short. Like, I don't want to be setting profit target orders at 2.5 because, okay, that's that's like over a 10% profit, and that's certainly what I think I would be tempted to take if I was sitting in front of the computer screen watching it. But that's another level to these types of trades specifically. Again, like I normally wouldn't try to even pretend like these were trades that match my playbook, but I would just be so tempted to just kind of be out and take profits right around this range. And that's where I just really get unprofitable because I'm cutting these profits so short and leaving my risk still at a losing win rate on those. The risk reward overall on those collective trades just really don't work out for me to be a profitable trader. But of allowing for the trades in the charts to just work out like this, then there becomes a level of, okay, yeah, there's a line of understanding. Let it work out, let it go where it wants to, but then secure all of your profits there. And kind of it's just a balancing game, right? Of taking profits along the way, or be more willing to try to force more out of it and collect everything all at once, or play more for pushing it harder and taking half off at that what would seem like a pushing it level, and then waiting for even more, waiting for $4, $5, anything crazier after that. Levels in lines to all of it, and I think that's just market and hype based, and overall market ecosystem based of what is potential for these ones. Are other similar movers moving that many percentage points? Do they have the volume? Does it have the volume today to do that type of action there? Is me holding it currently right now still worthwhile, even though it really hasn't broken what my initial risk was? Should I have adjusted my risk to say that was as price moved there? I should have been taking along with that price and then adjusted my stop along the way with it. we'll see. But that 20 shares, this is very experimental, obviously, and I'm excited to see what it wants to do the next few days here, if it does actually start to get or attract any more type of volume. Because if it's doing this type of price action with minimal volume, what could it be doing with actual volume? Could it get very manipulative, kind of like it was on that first day, that it has a nice little morning session, but then just overall it's meant for dumpage and death? Or is it more sentiment based on this type of action as well? I'm curious to see, and that's what I want to be in everything, is just curiosity over anxiety. Another one of my rules that I recite daily in that as well, and that's what I'm choosing with this one. And obviously, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Reflection on this, yeah, absolutely would be taking off profits at $3 there, if not the entire thing, as it has retraced all the way back down 70 cents to 2.3 here. But we'll continue to keep watching it and see if there's any more strength or legs out of it over the next few days. And that is really all I had for current scans, little preliminary scans that I had on the day. But yeah, just excited for similar trades like that to then expand myself and my own perceptions of what I'm trading as not just I trade patterns. It's not about patterns. Patterns come from emotions of traders, right? The dip and rip comes from the emotions of shorts being greedy and looking into these stocks and saying, oh yes, now it's dipping, I'm going to size in even more, and then all of a sudden get just absolutely smacked and roasted to the upside, and the panic of that ensuing, of them being squeezed. That is, it's not just the pattern itself, it's not just what the chart is, it's the emotion of what's happening, and realigning my perspective with that to focus on what are those charts. I mean, what are those tickers? What is that type of price action? As opposed to me just continually trying to just like blanket everything and saying, oh, I'm following these patterns, but they're just not working. It's not about what looks good as a pattern or what appears to me as this type of chart. It's what is actually going on behind the scenes. That is all that matters. Who is buying? Who is selling? Why would they be buying? Why would they feel a need to sell at certain price levels if certain price actions started to happen earlier before that? Variables that way, as opposed to just like blindly trying to put a round peg in a square hole, but just because the diagram that somebody else has given me has said so, like, oh, that's what it says to do. That's what this is. It's a round hole. I'm supposed to put it here like this. Just understand, like, read the room, understand what it actually is for what it is, and not just what somebody else in the past has assumed that it is, and then that's just the learning, and that's what the old textbook has said. But being able to adjust on the fly, I think that's very key for me, and excited to do similar trades like that, hopefully more in the future with CYN on actual size, and being willing and comfortable to get in when that risk reward is very aligned, and find profitability through it. I'm excited for it. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.